Hey guys, how's it going? Hey, we're going to continue on this 1967 Ski-Doo Olympia, I think is what it was called. It was rescued, sitting outside for a couple of decades on someone's property. It was pretty much a one-owner machine for its whole life. And again, set out, I think 1998 was when it was parked or last used. Yeah, there's a sticker on it. So we are 26 years into how long it's been sitting. On the previous video, we kind of went through it. We did the rescue, cleaned out all the crap that was on it, took the engine off, split the cover out of the way, regained spark on it, shot oil down the cylinder and all, and we got it to fire on dumping fuel down the spark plug hole, and that's kind of where we left off. So since then, I ordered a carb kit for it. And I think that's our next step. Why don't we see about getting that removed from there and see if it's savable. And we're going to try to concentrate from the engine outward. If we run into something that's ridiculous, that is too expensive or too much to try to repair on this machine, this engine can have another life on something else that would use this same engine. That's really cool. But again, that's for another video. All right, let's get that carburetor off of there and start doing some wrenching. I don't know, we think that's a 10? It is. I do see what's going to try and suck is how we're going to get that other one off of there. It's kind of buried. Can we get in there? Oh, from the bottom. Nope, reach around doesn't work. I have a feeling. Yeah. Let's right, back this one out. Sometimes it helps too if you loosen one side and get the carburetor to pull away a little bit. It gives you a little bit more room. Hopefully the stud is not coming out. Now we're good. Let's see if we have a sacrificial 10mm that we can kind of heat up and maybe bend to get in there. The angle looks kind of sucky. Yeah, let's see what we got in the stash. Maybe a ignition wrench set might be able to do it too. Let's go grab that first. That's what an ignition wrench looks like. Essentially for doing tune-ups on older stuff. Hopefully it's skinny enough to kind of get us. Yeah, we're gonna run into the same problem. But I have no problem sacrificing this. I think if we put, we're gonna need a bend and a twist. So we have to go this way with it and that way. You know I'm gonna make the opposite. Underneath, make sure. Now, and the other thing too, we can probably get the throttle out of our way. They give us more room. And we can get on it, but we can't get the next. Can't get the next click. You know what I mean? And let's try to heat that up and put a little bit of an angle on it. See if it helps us. We want to go towards us, and 50-50 on that one. I think that might be the right way. We're going to find out. Let's get that cool off. I'm going to go throw that in some water. We'll try it. If not, we'll bend it again. Yeah, I think we're going to have to give it then the head upward a little bit so we get one of those. I actually opened up the prongs a little bit. It's like a 10.5, but it gives you a little bit of slop. Hopefully it's enough to get it. There we go. Yeah. Custom. I have a drawer full of funky wrenches and sockets and stuff modified over the years. That's what's good about, like, you go to yard sales, you get like a toolbox for $5 or $10 and it's got, all the, generally they're never complete sets, but just all the miscellaneous stuff. Tear them apart and use them for sacrificial lambs. It'll be fun getting that one started. You can't get your finger under it, to support the other side of it. You probably make a special wrench for it. Like air-cooled Volkswagens, you do the carburetor and the fuel pump. They make an exhaust manifold, so they make a S wrench, a 13mm S wrench. Makes life so much easier. All right, let's get that out of there. What we got connected? A return spring. Get some needle nose, get that off. We'll bring it over to the bench and see what we got for a carburetor. All right, see what we got going on inside here. Hopefully, it didn't have fuel sitting up in it, but you could hope all you want. This is a, yeah, it's not even cracking loose. That's not a good sign. We'll go get a bigger screwdriver. Try that. There it goes. So this should just be like a fuel filter, like a screen should be underneath here. It'll give you a good indication what the rest of it's like if this is all powder. The screen is not there, but the seal is, so somebody may have removed that in the past. Let's go see. So this is some carburetors are diaphragm and some are a float bowl. This is the diaphragm style. And what a diaphragm carburetor does, what its benefit is, it can kind of be run in any direction. A lot of your small weed whackers and that kind of stuff, anything a little two-stroke, like chainsaw, you turn sideways. It can run in any position, where something with a float, the float has to, pretty much face down. So that's the benefit of this carb. Plus, also when you're, like if it's really bouncing around on a float carburetor, so a lot of times you could suck up air, the fuel starts splashing around. Where there's a diaphragm, there's no air anywhere where the fuel reservoir, you want to call it that, is. There's always it's always full of fuel. It's not like a float where there's air on top of the float. Air space, I should say. Right. But what happens with diaphragm is over time they get hard and no longer, because it's a lot of times they're a fuel pump too. They'll work as a like a pulse pump. They may get a pulse off the intake. I don't know if this one has one. We'll look in a second. It's usually on the flange coming in. Yeah, there'll be like a hole somewhere on it, and it gets a pulse from the crankcase. And that pulse from the crankcase moves the diaphragm. And there's like two little check valves. Essentially it becomes the fuel pump. Don't worry about marking them. We know that these three are lined up. Let's go see if we can get them to pop apart. That's your fuel pump part of it. There's the little valves I was talking about. Allow fuel to pulse through it. And then we're going to have a lower level. There we go. Okay. It's got some corrosion in it. And this is kind of like your float level. This is where the fuel kind of stays at a certain level. So you still have a needle and seat down in there. This is your diaphragm. And it depends on how flexible that is. Actually, it doesn't feel terrible. Like I said, I have a carb kit. I don't know if it's the right one. I actually ordered two, and one of them didn't show up. It got lost in the mail. This is out for delivery, and then it never showed up. So let's go see what we got. I think that one's all the same. I think it's just the one on top, where the valves are, where they're oriented. Let's go see. That might be it. Awesome. Good. We have like I said, there's different setups of that. Make sure my bolt holes are correct. Good. All right. Let's take a peek at the diaphragm. I think the diaphragm is correct. You can see how soft moving this one is compared to this, but this one's actually not terrible. compared to a lot of the junk we get. All right, let's go put these parts to the side. We got to strip that carb down a little bit more. I want to soak it in a carb cleaner. Let's get all the bits out of there. So we got air fuel mix screws in it. It's going to be a high and a low. High means for high revving, low means for idle. We've got these out of the way so I don't get harmed. Generally, common practice to count how many turns they are in or out. So there's an L and an H written right on them. So we're going to say, if they move, yeah, it's not going to be a good enough adjustment to go figure out. They're too gooey. We'll figure it out later. So we're going to go pop them out of there. Yeah, it's pretty rusty. Got a lot of rust on the tip. Hate when that happens. You know you're getting old. And this one's set up so you can kind of adjust while you're riding it. Looks like with that little T-wrench on it. Let's get them out of there. I should have a washer and an O-ring. There they are. Those two pieces. And so we're going to remember the fine tip was the low, which kind of makes sense. And now we got a needle and seat. I'm going to watch the spring doesn't go flinging on us. I'm going to put my finger over it. There's the needle. The needle's got all crap packed around the top of it. Crustaceans. And did the new one come? Like that, you could take the center of that out. Yeah, we got a new one. So let's get a little socket on there, hopefully, and see if we can get that one out of there. So here's the new one and the socket that fits it. And that's looking like tight quarters. Maybe. Go see. I don't know if we got down far enough to grab it. Nah. Let me go see if I can find something a little thinner wall on it. Let's try a deep socket with a little bit of influence. Yeah, it's got it. There's a seal. Again, this needle seat. That needle seat meters how much fuel gets into that chamber, and it shuts it off. Well, it has a seal in it, which is down. You can see all the crap sticking out of it right now. I don't know if it's showing up. It's all packed solid with crap. No fuel is going through that. And then, like over time, that seal kind of goes away, gets brittle or gets gummy. That one's kind of both. All right, so I think we got enough off of the body of it. I think the choke is frozen, but we'll soak it first. We'll see if it comes back. If not, we'll put some pliers on it and some lube. We'll see if we're going to rock that back and forth. But for now, we'll leave that alone. But we do need to scrape the gaskets off of these. I think this one's all set. And we've got to watch how these are stacked together. I do believe sometimes they different carburetors have different orientation of the base gaskets that are on it. Essentially, they just stack differently for different shimming. All right. Yeah, it's pretty corroded, huh? So we're going to have to go when we put that back together, make sure that is, do we have the correct do I not have this? It is opposite what I have. Is that going to work for us? So it has this as one piece, right? With no hole in it. That one's got a hole in it. And then this one doesn't. I guess we're going to find out, right? There you go, like that. So we may or may not be using that one over. I'm not sure how that's going to work for us. All right. And we got the other side to go deal with. Where is it? There it is. Let's go. So this one has the one on the outside. Sometimes there's even two of them. There'll be one on the inside also. Oh, what's that? I'll turn it back now. I ripped it. And that can't have any holes in it. Yeah, we got a bunch of corrosion underneath there too. Alright, so I'm going to take a minute. I'm going to go scrape off all this crap. Give us a fighting chance. And plus it doesn't contaminate the parts cleaner. So I'll prep this stuff. We'll throw this in the cleaner. We'll let that soak and we'll jump on to something else. We're just going to throw the big pieces in. Not the jets or anything. I'll probably clean them up on a wire wheel. But you know what? My basket's not in there. Hold on. Come back out. There you go. Let's try that again. That one. That one. That one. Well, we can start on that clutch setup and start seeing if we can free up what needs to be freed up inside here. But I think we're going to have to take the engine off to be able to get, you're probably going to get an impact gun on there. Oh, somebody was saying on the last video that there's two levers on the inside of this cover and you can flip the cover up. Not on this one, maybe a little bit later, but it is bolted to the side of the frame all the way around. So unfortunately this cover does not come off. And we soaked the switch down and I believe now it's kind of turning. There it goes. So the oil that we put in there seemed to have done its trick. Whether the switch is any good, I don't know. But for now, we just unplugged it. Actually, let's go look in. We should be able to see the rings. We're looking right in there. Kind of condition the. Looks good. Good amount of oil we got squeezing out of them too. Good. There's three. Yeah, the exhaust port you can see further down, but the idea of this is the intake draws in, the air fuel mix goes down under into the crankcase, and it draws air fuel in. And as it's spinning and it closes that port back off, it pushes down and it pushes it around into some ports that are on the side. It doesn't, you would think like on a regular, you think it would just kind of suck right in and go up. It doesn't. It goes down to the crankcase. The crankcase draws it in, and then when the piston goes back down, it pushes it up and around to up top. That looks good. All right, let's worry about this. I think I just have two bolts holding the engine in its cradle. Let's get it up out of the hole and kind of kick it on an angle. We'll start on that one. Come on out. There we go. Just leave it up here to work on it, I guess. Do we have any more wires connected? I don't think so. Alright, so let's go get an impact gun and a socket set up for that. So you can get it buzzed off. What do you think? Left hand thread or right hand thread? Sometimes these are done the other way. I don't know what we got for springs. Now we're free. Okay. The other one, it's got a big spring on it. Actually, they both should. Let's go see what's happening here. Alright. These are weights as it spins. These aren't doing anything. These are all frozen. There they go. So as it spins, they put pressure on the clutch to push in. So these two being far apart, consider it like first gear. And then as it shifts, this closes up and then the other one changes size. I don't know if these slots in here, I don't know if that's something that we need to remove to get it to come apart. You would think it would just slide. We'll look at that a little bit closer. Again, I don't know why would you have keys in there. I don't know if that's like a spanner that's on there or not. What's your thoughts? Get a better look at it. Looks like it's all one piece. You see a pin or anything holding it? It's like a hole where a pin would have been, huh? Let's take a wire wheel to the outer edge, to this edge right here, because it would have to get back off of that. And we'll soak it down with a bunch of fluid. And then maybe we'll take like a brass hammer or nylon or something, try tapping on this side of it, get it to come off. But getting it to go over that rust, we're going to be fighting it. So let's go clean that off first. Well, I know what those cuts are for. That's where the little keys went in and pushed off of. That's what those are for. Why don't you say something? Okay. Get a bunch in there. I don't know if the inside's going to help us. This won't hurt. I don't know if we have any more room. We could drive it maybe in a little. Let's go get like a hammer that's not going to smash the crap out of it. We got a nylon one. So I think if we can get it to move. She's pretty rusted up to it. Back up a hair so you're not dancing around. The biggest thing, we can't, this isn't very strong. If we deform this, it's kind of screwed. Yeah. I wonder if we can get like a, I wonder if we throw like a, maybe like an exhaust clamp or something around here, and then we put a puller on it and try pulling it. I don't think we're going to, think anything else we're going to try doing is damaging it, right? Yeah, let's go try to set, we'll set something up. See if we can get around here for a base, and we'll try pulling up off of that with some kind of homemade flange. The scriber was nice enough to hook us up. This is like kind of meant for doing what we're doing. Let's see if we got one that's going to... Yeah, let's go try that. It's got some pinch bolts. Problem is, I have a feeling that these are just going to slide on us. But we'll give it a shot. If it doesn't work, we'll try the other thing. We'll try, like I said, we'll get an exhaust clamp or something, and we'll throw it on. We'll spin them in there. Probably give it a, that's steel down below, but we should probably give it a good fighting chance. My guess, if it puts up a fight though, it's gonna cat claw it right off of there. Let's go get the puller. Yeah, let's go through a little lube on the hole. Keeps the friction down, you know what I mean? Maybe a little on the tip. This keeps you from binding. Alright, so we got an outer and an inner. This opens the jaws up. They get wider. Enough to get up over that. And hopefully there you go. Now we got to run that center in. I don't know if that's going to be far enough to reach. Let's go get ourselves a wrench that'll fit on that. I don't want to use the impact gun yet. We're going to approach it lightly. Back you up a little bit. Get you in the whole shot, right? Let's I don't think they're going to slip off. Like I said, I think if anything, the whole collar is going to pull. Let's yeah, I'm gonna grab an impact. We'll run it in with that. Is it 17 millimeter? Yeah. Collar slid off. Alright, try that again. I wonder if we should put some heat on it. I think I want to be careful though. I don't want to cook the crank, you know. See what we can do as far as yeah, the collar's already pulling on an angle too. Yeah, it's already slipping. I knew it was gonna put up a fight. Just didn't know how much. Yeah, I don't think we have much of a choice. Problem is that like the collar's in the way, you know, like you'd really like to get the heat down to the bottom. I don't know if you could maybe shoot a torch in that way. It's gonna burn off the grease. Nope, give it a shot. What we got to lose? I decided to change it up what we're gonna do. So here's my thoughts is that clutch is already in pretty much the most furthest out point. You know, the belt wouldn't touch when it's laying in here, it'd be neutral. So this has the capacity of driving in till this almost touches or will touch on that side. So we have room for it to drive this direction. And what we can do, maybe we'll get like a piece of pipe or something that we can whale on. We'll heat it up without that coupler on there. We get the heat to it. We'll heat it up. We'll see if we could drive it in, and then we can kind of clean up, because it's held up on rust. You know, you can even see it, you know, right down inside where that groove is there. You can see how cruddy it is. I think if we can get it to move inward, we can kind of clean some of the surface up, and then, you know, try to back off again. So let's go try that. Let's go get, I gotta go find a, I don't know if I can anything that's brass. I may have to use like a piece of steel. How about I get you out of hammer striking distance? And I got a piece of I don't know what it is, but it's thick, clears over that. So we'll try heating this flange up, and when you heat it up, kind of expands. Getting at it. I'm not going to beat on too hard, but. Somebody was making a good point. You got a roller bearing crank. You don't want to hammer on it too much. Unfortunately, it's too much. Let's heat it up, and we're gonna wet it and kind of quench it. A little towel trick. We'll see if that helps it. Heat quench. Might have to do it a couple of times. Hit with a big old water pistol. Smoking. I was able to get the puller on it. Problem is, like I said, we just can't get the heat to where we need it to get. I don't know how fast we'd be able to get that puller set up there too if we had to. Let's I'd like to get it to cool off in that position. That way we can clean up the rust. Figure out how to do that. Maybe let it cool in that spot. One of you would grab that water. I'd really appreciate it. It's gonna stay? Yeah. There it goes. Knock it down a couple thousand degrees. Trying to save it. There's a crank seal there. I'm trying to save it, not cook it. Let's get that wire wheel. We'll clean up that shaft that's in there. I think it's probably bound up again. Go see. Alright, I'm going to heat it up one more time, and I think we should be able to get it to come off there. I can get maybe like little blocks of wood. Somebody mailed me some wedges. Might work on just such an occasion. You can tap them in. We'll heat it up, and then we'll hammer a couple of these in there. Get it to push apart? Maybe? Let's go find out. Hopefully it didn't do too much damage. We got it. Good. Yeah, that wasn't coming apart easy at all. That definitely was just nothing but a pile of rust. All right, I'm gonna let that cool down. I'm gonna throw some water on it. We gotta see about, I think that's actually supposed to be a bearing, believe it or not. And hopefully we haven't cooked the crank too much. And the spring. You heat a spring up, it loses its length. Well, if that is supposed to spin, it's going to be screwed. Actually, I'm starting to think it doesn't. And I don't, you know, if the crank seal's gone, it's gone. I don't have a choice. And we're not going to know that till we fire it up. And then the heat didn't help. It's got a lot of corrosion in there. This is the actual crankshaft of the engine. It's not like it's an external. It's lost quite a bit of its diameter inside there just due to corrosion. It's probably a good 1/4 inch is missing. But this is the side that needs to move. That's out here that we can, you know, we can prep all this and get it ready to get the other half back on there. Let's go clean this up, maybe with like a sanding flapper disc or something. Clean the surface up on this and this, and then we'll look at the one that we took off. I just soaked it in water. I don't know what I did with it. All right, we'll get it back in a minute. And we may need to go stretch that spring out. Not quite sure as far as again, like you heat a spring, it loses all its tension. Yeah, I'll get you closer to look. See what I'm talking about on the crank, how worn down it is? Yeah, it wasn't going to come apart easy now, was it? And how would you get that off of there, you know? That's got, without destroying it. You definitely can't get a puller on that one. That one's going to fight you just as much, even more, because at least this one was meant to slide. This one's meant to be a tight fit on a key. We could try Scotch-Brite. I think we're going to need sandpaper, but let's go try Scotch-Brite first. Well, it's definitely heavily pitted, but as long as there's no sharp edges that's going to chew the belt, I think we may be okay. That's really bad though. That crank is really... That wasn't going to come apart without heat. No matter what we did, that wasn't going to do much. So let's take a minute. Let's go soak. These are those little weights I was talking about. Let's go get them soaking. I wrap them around with a hammer a little bit to get them to move. They need to be kind of frictionless, like that one. That's the amount of travel it's supposed to have. I'm going to whack on them a little bit. Actually, what I'll probably do, I'll do the same thing with the wire wheel. I'll hit the side surfaces the best I can get in there, and then whack them around. They should do that. Well, we got the shaft clean, and we got the rusty hole to deal with. And I was thinking trying to get like a little wire wheel or something in there, but not going to happen. I don't have anything small enough. But I do have Breakstone hone, brandy new one. See if that'll do it. We're doing wheel cylinders and master cylinders, and or clutches for. Because we need that to smoothly slide on the shaft. No binding. So we'll give that a trial fit, see if it does anything for us. It's decent. Can't really put any lube on that because the belt is right here, and if you put any lube, it's just going to fling out and then the belt's going to spin. So let's go see how it works though. All right, what's your guess? I'm gonna say it's gonna fight us. Yeah, a little at the. I think that's actually this surface we got to clean up a little bit. We can get that with a wire wheel. I think it's just rubbing on the cone. And we go clean that surface up, and or possibly take some of the rust off of that, because actually that shoulder, now it's going to go all the way in. I'm looking at the side of it thinking how far it travels, but it steps over. So that touching that is going to be the same as that hitting on there. So we have to clean, we got to prep this all the way up, because that's top gear, and if it runs in too hard, it's not going to be able to pop back. Again, the spring still has to go in there. Okay, let's go work it a little bit more and see if we can get it to do what we need to do. I took the stone to this a little bit more. Like this outer edge, I think I still had a little bit of rust on it. Closing right up, not binding. And we didn't even bend it too bad. Good. I'm gonna go take some carb clean. I'm gonna go wash all this stuff off of there. Let's go throw the spring on. See how much tension we got pushing it apart. And I might put like a very thin coat of grease, just enough to keep the rust down. What about that? Looks a little suspect. Again, it's the... We'll leave it. We'll see what it does. I have a feeling we kind of... Doesn't it look like that side's a little wider than that one? Like the heat on this kind of crushed it just a hair. I could probably stretch it out again, but we'll leave that for another day. Just in case. Want to break something if it's not quite broken yet. All right, so I'm gonna go clean that stuff up. I'll put some grease on it. I think we can put the, where's the little plate? So I got that ready to roll. These are all free. So I'm gonna wash all these in the parts washer, get all the oil off of them. And we'll place all that back together again. Everything cleaned up and cleaned off a brake clean. I say we just give her a little, again, not enough to fling it, but I do want to make a moisture barrier, because that's just going to happen again. So we'll give it like that, maybe wipe off any excess, you know. Again, because if it flings up into the clutch for the belt, it's just going to grease up the belt and you go nowhere. Water does it bad enough, much less what grease does. So we got that. We got that side. And then we have the clutch. Those paws are going to line up with those. And like I said, when it speeds up, these weights push this in and changes the gear ratio. And hopefully they didn't booger the threads up on the end of that. I may have to go clean them from where the yeah, I'm gonna work. I think I got it. I'm gonna clean them up a little bit. I'm also gonna take this on a wire wheel, clean those threads up. I'll get that bolted on there. A little bit of grease on there. Keep them from getting boogered up. Yeah, that's got it. Like I said, when that spins, it should push them out. Those weights move. Good. I do think that spring's pretty ratty. Well, we'll see. We'll see if the problem with it, if it doesn't have the spring tension on it, when it's trying to idle, it's going to try grabbing the belt and having the machine move. But we'll leave that alone for now. We can get it all apart, even when it's in the machine. We can put a wrench on it and take it apart. All right. I don't know about the crank seal, whether it survived or not, but I guess we'll find that out when it's time to find that out. Do you want to, what do you want to do? You either probably get that carb back together, or we also have, you thought that one was bad. Look at the inside one there. So that is the opposite. That's spring-loaded closed all the time, and as this one squeezes together and gets tight, it automatically tries to shove the belt down in between there. Well, that goes across, there's a chain and gears inside, chain of sprockets I should say, that are inside there, and then that goes down to the track, and that's how that system works. I don't know, I think it probably has a brake lever on it too. How that brake gets incorporated, I'm not sure. I'm sure there's like brake shoes on it. Let's go look at the other side. Yeah. Let's go at least try to go take it apart a little bit and see what doesn't come apart. You can see right now we're going to have to heat these up. Those are jam nuts and they're not going to come off. The spring setup. You thought the other one was a pain in the ass. I have a feeling this one's going to suck just as bad. Let's not condemn it yet. Let's start taking some stuff apart. We have a cotter key, otherwise known as a split pin, across the pond rather. Let's get that out of the way, and it looks like less light, because I know the light usually kind of screws it up. It looks like this is supposed to slide on these, and then the spring kind of just holds tension against it all the time. So let's get this off and these 3 bolts off. And again, we're probably gonna have to deal with the same issue that we had trying to get this pulley off of that rusted up shaft that's on there. Maybe not quite as bad. It might have been out of the weather a little bit more than the engine was. Yeah, sure. All right, let me get some stuff apart. Let's see if we can walk that cotter key out of there. I already bent the top straight up and down, but it should go ping. Look at it go. Yeah, I should have some tension behind it and launch that off of there. Let's give her some love taps with a hammer. Probably should have hit that with a wire wheel. We got it. Keep an eye out. Where'd it go? I see it. Yeah. I have a feeling that shaft is supposed to slide on that one. Oh boy. It's a single speed. We'll leave it as a single speed. Yeah. And the other thing too is we have to kind of work within this confine, you know. This hood really, I guess it could come off, but I think that assembly's kind of got to work in its place, you know. All right, let's go, and I'm going to try to get these off of here. Like I said, this whole half, the sheave is supposed to slide back and forth, and I'm pretty sure that's going to be where it slides on. And I have a feeling these go through, so it's not even like we can put a puller on these, you know. It moves the machine. That part's good. Alright, quit babbling. I'm going to throw some heat on those. I'm not even going to bother trying to put oil or anything on them. I'm going to heat them up, get them off of there, and we'll go from there. Actually, is this even going to, if this comes off, is this even going to clear the, it's not even going to clear the steering. That's the plastic of the jam nut. Of course it's the wrong way. Of course it is. Oh, come on now. Now you're just screwing with me. Now that it's cooled off, right? There we go. Good. Is that the whole stud? The whole thing's, that's a nut and bolt, that's why. Alright, I can get a wrench on the other side. I'm going to work and get those 3 off of there. Good, that means at least all this stuff will be able to come out of here. That. These are just spacers. Ah, it moves, it's separate. Awesome. I did not expect that. I thought that we were screwed on that. Good, let's go take a wire wheel. We'll clean the crap up off of this like we did on the other one. I think, yeah, I don't know if we're gonna be able to clear this though. That's the only thing. I think that might be an issue. I don't know if we better off disconnecting the steering column. I don't think there's any other. Looks like there's a big U-bolt. Big U-bolt right there going around holding the upper part. And it looks like it's got a brace that goes down there. Yeah, we still got all the brake stuff to go look at, figure out how that works. Let's jump the gun. Let's go clean that up with a wire wheel and pull it, see what it does. Watch your eyes. The inside's pretty clean, that's good. And we want to get that off. Yeah, we're not going to make, I was hoping. Yeah. We're still got about another, that rusty shaft there still is not even showing, so we got about another inch or so. Yeah, something like that. All right, what do you think? Steering column? I wonder, I'm going to take a mirror and look down there. I don't know if that goes through. I'm looking down there. Does that go through with a pin on the other side of it, or I bet you that holds it right there. Yeah, let's get those 2 bolts out of it. I think that's what's holding it right there. So if we get the upper bracket out, we might be able to slide the whole thing up and to the left. All right, let's go do that. Alright, is it gonna work for us? No, it doesn't go through. Might be just so rusted up. Let's get up there and get a little wrenching on it with our body. Yeah, I think it's locked in by rust. I don't think this is holding us up. No. Should be plenty play in that. I may try getting a pry bar underneath that bottom and give us a little bit of wedgie. Give it a wedgie. Let's see if that wooden wedge will help us too. There we go. How far up it has to come. I wouldn't think anything would be blocking it. Excellent. Now we should have enough room. Maybe. Let's I have a brake cable that's holding us up. Should be able to lift that whole thing up, right? Yeah. we're in. There's that one anyway. We still have to figure out how the brake setup works. All right, I'm gonna go take some time. I'm gonna go clean that side up because it might need it just a little. The shaft's not bad, but I'm gonna clean up that end now that we have that off of there. And we'll look into how this brake setup works. It's just got a brake pad on the side that we pull in and touch. Kind of what it looks like, right? Brakes. Brakes are for quitters. So we got those cleaned up pretty good on the inside surfaces. So now we got to be able to get it all back together. And the only thing is trying to compress that spring where we can get that cap back on it and get a key through it. I gotta contemplate on that one for a little bit. I think what our best bet is. What's your thoughts? What would you do? Crush it in a vise and put tie wraps in it? We won't be able to get the tie wraps under here though. That's the problem. I wonder if we could shove this and this in a vise. You know what I mean? If we were able to crush this down in a vise, I don't know if the vise is going to go wide enough. We close it all the way down, and then we're still going to need a little bit of space though. Well, we do it with a collar. We can crush it all the way down to say like right there and get vice grips on it. Yeah, that's not loaded now, is it? I think that's kind of our best bet. Unless you come up with something else in the next 10 seconds. I think that's what we're going with. What about, because we still have that ring that goes on, but that just holds the two sides together. That's not really doing any, like that has to get bolted on after. Let's do some crushing. Ooh. Oh yeah, safety third. So the problem I ran into was the vise isn't deep enough for it to set in. So I came over to the press. I'm like, well, we could just kind of like press down on it. But we have to be able to figure out how to press the spring down far enough where this is exposed and we can still clamp vice grips on it. You know, so we can kind of, you know, put something like that or press down on it to go do it. But then how are you going to get the vice grips on? Because these little coils are going to be almost touching. So I think we got to go into the junk drawer, which is right next to us. This is the land of broken toys, so to speak, heated up and bent wrenches and, you know, all the stuff that we were just talking about earlier. So if we can find a socket that we can notch that'll clear to go over that. Actually, maybe you know that much, right? Yeah, a little bigger. Gotta be something in here. Yeah, maybe we'll go with something like that. Oh, am I going to be able to get vice grips on it? I'm going to cut 2 walls out of the socket on each side. So we can press it down and then hopefully get vice grips to lock and hold the spring when we lift it up off of there. Does that sound like a feasible plan, or does that sound stupid to you? Did we try that one? That one's even snugger. Good. We'll go with that. I need one side skinnier, a little skinnier, so that the vice grips can lock on. I get us, that's got it. That's got it right there. Good. Another specialty tool brought to you by Yard Sales and Craftsman. So this might be one of those moments where they say why women live longer than men. I can't see anything going wrong. Maybe we should, because our biggest thing is this is going to slip off of here. I wonder, I don't know if a hose clamp is going to be able to, maybe we'll get a hose clamp. We'll wrap that around it to help center it. And then once this is down below there, we can take the clamp off, it won't be able to fall off, and then we get the vice grips on it. Agree? Yeah, about 90% of you saying no. Wile E. Coyote. Super genius. I like the way that rolls out. Wile E. Coyote. Super genius. Well, you can stand there all you want. I'm going to stand to the side. What could possibly go wrong? Come on. Play well. Are you even going to have enough room? I think that spring might collapse before. Here you go. We'll drop that down. We're going to do our best to get these on as tight as possible. Still got to be able to get that socket out of there though, so we can't bind on the socket. Wile E. Coyote. Alright, let's go release it. I'm going to stand over here. Is it free? Oh, you suck. Oh, we're binding on. I don't want to take that back out of there. I don't have a choice though, right? Because yeah, that has to come off. I got room. I think this window on this side is a little too tight. Let's get a little screwdriver. We'll wedge it in there and kind of kick it on an angle. Yeah. That's what it's caught on. Come on out. And don't fire. Oh, that's dumb. No, it sucks. I think I ovaled the center of it. I don't know if we're going to be able to get it on because of that. I think that's really going to fight us. That sucks. Shit. Now what? Let's try it. Yeah. That's what I figured. So, we could try going lighter on the vice grips, like resetting it and going lighter on the vice grips. But I don't know. You know, the lighter we go, the more the chance of the thing popping apart is. No. At this point, we really don't have a choice, do we? So that's why that socket was binding too. Should we get this out of the way? Is that going to shoot? That's going to shoot the spring down, right? But that's what we want, right? Actually, spring will pop up. There we go. Can I rotate it? That's playing with fire. I'm saying because it's already oval this way. It'd be better if we pinched it like that. I mean, take it apart. Yeah, I'm gonna take it apart and rotate it. Plus, I have a feeling that may have even stayed crushed. So let's I'm not gonna put the hose clamp back on. So let's go ease her back out. I'm like 5 feet away. Alright, that should be enough where it's only, I put that in by hand, so. I'm gonna go look and see if I damaged that. I did. I gotta go crush that back anyway. So I gotta go fix that ovalness to it so it fits back on before I do anything. Kind of wonder too if you can kind of like drill a hole and put a pin partially in on each end. Hey, I'm trying. So my thought is we use that socket over. I fixed that shaft so it spins free. Kind of wondering if we can get enough pressure on it. Maybe. We making more out of it than it needed to be. Ha! Winner, winner. Hopefully I don't have to take it apart again. I get the bolt holes to line up, so I get those bolts through it. It should be fairly close. There it is. Line it up. Should be able to. You know what I probably should have done was grease up. Actually, I should have cleaned out those holes. Because don't those pins have to slide? Don't these pins have to slide on that? They do. Yeah. Yeah. Now you forget shit. That's one of them. Do I take it back apart? Or do I screw with it where it is? I think they're actually okay. Let's get the bolt out of the way. It might be just a little bit of misaligned. Yeah, it's just the bolt that's misaligned. Alright, so I'll throw a little bit of grease on these just to keep them from rusting. And in the hole. Alright, I think it's got us all back together. This is pretty much like a limiting. It keys both of them together so one doesn't slip and the other one stays still. And I think it's also the limit. It's how far this sheave can come out and travel. It just pretty much comes out and touches. I don't think that would try to overdo itself too much anyway with that 10 horsepower, but it definitely looks better than what it is. And then for brakes, it's just a brake shoe. Get the light set up. So it's that little brake shoe. You pull a lever and it just rubs against the outer side of the drum. So I don't know if our best bet is to try to just take a wire wheel and clean all that off of there within reason. I think if we try using it the way it is, I think it'll just burn out. Whatever that little pad is there, which is probably like leather or something, is my guess. What about accessing the chain? I think that's a plastic cover. Let's go shove a screwdriver in there and see if that pops open for us. See if we can take an eyeball what's happening inside that chain. I would figure to have like some place to grease it at least, you know. There's one. Yeah, let's go pop that top one off. Watch, there's like no chain in there at all. There you go. Yeah. Let's grab a mirror. That actually looks very good. Grab you a mirror and show you. Actually, can I get you in there? You guys got a skinny head. There you go. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. I'm gonna throw some lube on that, probably tickle it, and see what we got for chain tension. Looks like it has an adjuster right there on the side. Take that bolt, looks like you slide it, and it pivots the center of that, how do you want to call it? Primary, I don't know, eccentric. Let's give her a tickle. belt feels pretty tight on both sides. I'm going to leave that alone. I'm just going to spray some chain lube on it. I'll call it a day. I don't think that's had any issues at all. Well, that's all put back together. Let's go check on dinner. See how that's doing. I think that's water that's kind of in with it that runs off. I think it kind of goes up as steam and collects on the top. Oh, they're doing all the mud that came off and out of them. So I'm going to take them. I got to clean my cleaner. That sludge that's on the bottom of it. But they look good. I'm going to go clean them up with some water. We'll go back to the bench. Shut that off. I got it kind of blown out and washed out. We got the choke is still frozen. Let's go see if we can persuade that back into operation. A lot of times you just grab it with pliers, a little bit of lube, and work it a little. Oh, my mind. Let's see if we there to go. So what would it go? Down? You could always hit it with heat like we do everything else. I think it is, it's hard to say. I'm going to say that has to go up. Because there's a notch. Kind of. Okay, once you get it moving a little bit, then the lube gets up in there, and there you go. Now that it's moved a little, I think I'm going to I'm just going to jump ahead. There's really not much to it. We're just going to replace the gaskets that we took out in the same order. There's no real adjustment that we need to do. And hopefully everything comes back to life. And how's that throttle doing? It's pretty good. I think we'll throw a little bit. I'm going to rinse it out with brake clean too, but get a little bit of oil down those ports. And then I'll take carburetor cleaner rather. Just kind of rinse off what we got left. Good. I think the chances are it's going to work for us though. One more time I'm going to go, like I said, I'll hit it with carb cleaner. I'll blow out the little ports and we're just going to reassemble everything the way it came apart. Start jumping ahead a little bit. That's all back together, and we'll save the old stuff just in case we need a part in the future. We'll remember we have that. So, especially like the needle and seat, that kind of thing can be reused over. I think we're good. Kind of guesstimated on the air fuel mixes. I'm out about 2 turns on each one. Let's go clean up that bay that's in there now. The engine's out of there. And I have a shop back here. Yeah, so get rid of all that crap that's sitting up there. Might make for a little bit more enjoyable ride. That's a little better. My next concern is there's a fuel tank in there. I have no idea if it's any good. It's got a little valve, but I don't see any access to it. I don't know if they built it into the frame of the thing or what. There's a gas cap. See that pipe going up? My feeling is it might be just part of the whole machine. You know, they're part of the metal work. They shield off a section for the gas. Let's got a dipstick. Is there anything in it? I'm gonna go run a. That's not much, huh? It just sits in there. It doesn't even thread in. Does it like? Huh. Yeah, let's go run. They probably run a scope down there. Doesn't look. I don't know if there's any gas in it at all, which would be a good thing. I don't know. Do you want to try? I wonder if we can just dump some fuel in it and use it to kind of like rinse it. Maybe we could draw through the, get another light, draw through the where the fuel line comes out with like some kind of pump, and we'll like pump out and see what we get. And we go do that. We'll dump like I don't know, maybe half a gallon and see if it pisses out too. You know, it might just come right out of the bottom. Who knows? Let's go find out. Actually, what we should do is go shoot a little bit of air down it, see if like rust dust comes kicking out. Oh yeah, actually it's kind of, it's like a wet fuel. I hear it tinkling. I'm gonna shove a pump down there. There might be some fuel in there. I didn't see any, but obviously it's kicking something out. Actually, let's draw up through the where the fuel line is. Let's blow in and see if we get anything. Not much, but there is something in there. I don't know if a turkey baster would get it. Some little pump. Let's go hook up a pump. Try from the front first. Can we take the machine and flip it upside down and shake it? It's a little bit of dampness. Problem is, I'm afraid it's going to be, you know, a big puddle of water in the bottom of that. I think they put a drain or something in the middle. So I decided to bail on the gas tank for a little bit. It has a ton of water in it, and looks like the gas evaporated and just the oil is coming up, because you can even see I already mopped up inside there, but you know, it's spitting out quite a bit. The only thing I see access is we could possibly take that little nipple off of there, and again, it's a little bit more access to the tank, but I think it's just a sealed unit part of the body. And again, I think we're getting ahead of ourselves, so I want to run the engine and see if we have a viable engine. My biggest concern is the crank seal, and then all the heat that we put on it, whether that killed the crank seal. So we've got a temporary gas tank set up on it. I just turned the fuel on to it. Let's give her a couple of yanks. I'll put a screwdriver in my pocket. Possibly, what are we pissing at? Oh, gotta tighten that bottom screw up a little bit. I didn't tighten it because I wasn't sure what direction it needed to point at. Yeah, I know. You're saying sure. Honest. I wanted it to bleed the air out. That's what it is. Let's see if that stops. Put the spring to the side too. It does already have a, there's a spring return for the throttle, so I'm not worried about it running full throttle on us. Choke is on. We'll leave it in that position. I'll get you in the stand. Let's go give her a couple of yanks, see what happens. I also have the engine shifted forward, so we're just on the back two motor mounts, just so we can kind of work on it. Exhaust is on it too. All right, let's give it a little bit of air. Clutch down. That's the wall. rev that one up. Got some tweaking to do on that, but I was working on the low at first, and then I kicked in to the high RPMs, and I ran it in until it started to die. I came out to it, caught itself, and then back a little further, just to kind of richen it up just a hair. I do think the low is a little too lean. That's why it died afterwards. We'll probably have to turn the idle back up on that just a hair. But we don't have the air cleaner or nothing on it yet. Like I thought, the clutch was all the way in, even at just idle speed, so that spring definitely took a hit. We're gonna have to go do something about that to get this. I don't know if you noticed it, the gap was all the way closed up. So let's see how it restarts. About as low as it's going to get on an idle. Yeah, you can see definitely how much that clutch is up, how weak that spring is, how much more that it needs. Definitely the heat took it out. I thought so, having that much play in it. There's not much stopping it. Again, that's those flyweights that come out and push on it. While at an idle, you don't want to do anything. You don't want it touching the belt because it's always going to be trying to drag and run the machine. I'm going to go air us out a little bit, although it's not terrible. A lot of times you fire them up, and it's definitely a cloud in here. But I'll turn the fan on. Let's go get this back apart. Look at that spring a little bit. See if we can kind of find something maybe a little bit better or try to help that one out. How's our carb doing? We pissing fuel? Those look a tad wet. It's functioning good though. That definitely comes apart easier the second time, huh? Yeah. I don't know if I have anything that far in diameter. Let's go hunting a little bit. I don't seem to remember anything that big though. I do have a spring box. That's right here. Those are like bed springs. We got the opposite of what we need. That. A bunch of the same. I'm gonna keep hunting a little bit. See what I can come up with. I got a spring drawer in the toolbox too, but generally there's less stuff in there. Yeah, I didn't think so. Let's go see if we can work with what we got there. Could possibly order one too. I would think that something would be available for it, right? But that's not helping us right now. Well, generally you're supposed to heat them up, soak them in oil and all that kind of stuff. Let's go see if we get some kind of stretch out of it. It's gonna punch me in the face, I know it. Well, I say we got a little bit more out of it. I think it's got some tails on it now, though. Those are supposed to be smooth, but let's just see what we get. Like I said, I think we're gonna have to get a new one. But that should help push it apart maybe a little bit more. Let's go pop it back on. We should be able to tell as soon as we put the first half on there how much it. Yeah, because before we could actually push it all the way into there. Again, it still feels really wimpy though. I'm not kidding myself. I know what it needs. What'd you do with the bolt? Oh, I saw you. Hide it. Yeah, well, we're just kind of looking, because that spring, the front and the rear and the weights and all, that's all like calibration that you can do for, at like what RPM does it come in? Do you make, you know, does the engine rev higher out of the hole, lower? It all is the adjustment in, come on, get in there. It's all the adjustment for its variable transmission, and it's done by the weights, the springs, front and rear, both of them. So, you know, this being out of whack is, I'm sure, going to throw it out of kilter. But what I'm looking for is hopefully we can kind of get it so that when it idles, the pulley just stays apart. So it's just not trying to drive the belt when we don't want it to. Let's go fire it up one more time and see what this does. Let's go give it a feel first. Better. Ain't great, but it's better. Well, hopefully I didn't flood it. I choked it to kill it. I don't have a kill switch yet. We got some, those two halves loosened up, huh? Whatever was in there decided to do something funky. Is the bolt still tight? No, that's why. Yeah, we want to make sure that's good. Let's go up. That wasn't go pop that back out of there. Let's go see what those pieces are. I was concerned that like one of those was a bearing. A lot of times they're not though, it's just kind of like a bushing. But let's go see. Now that it decided to loosen itself up. Nah, is that a bearing? I think it might be a bearing, huh? That's stuck. That's exactly what it is. And it's gonna, I mean, cause us an issue. Let's go. And that was cooked too. Yeah, I don't know if we'll get that pressed off of there and go get another one, or if we should just leave it enough alone. Let's go pop that seal off the side of it and take a peek. Yeah, should be able to just dig that right out of there. Got one metal. There we go. Yeah, she's a little crunchy in there, huh? Let's go take an air gun. We'll blow some of that crap out of there. I don't think I can get a puller behind it though. We can always cut it off if we have to, right? We'll go get an air gun. We'll blow some of that crap out of there. That'll be what's left. What's left of the grease. One thing I do like though, I shouldn't say it, but the seal behind there seems like it's okay, or else it wouldn't want to idle. Does that have a retaining clip on it? No. Yeah. Look how cooked the top is. Some you guys heating it up. Yeah, see what you did? Yeah. Let's go see if that'll spin a little bit. Kind of doubt it. I brought my toolbox of bearings over here. I wonder if we can eyeball and see if we have one. Yeah, this is junk. I already know it's junk, but yeah. Let's I'm gonna go shopping and see if I have something to replace that. If not, maybe just leave it alone, let the belt kind of like, you know, slip over it. Yeah, this is my stash of bushings and bearings and pillar blocks and all that kind of stuff. Each tour's got its own little. And down in the dungeon was more our liking for size. And this is the ring that was on it. It looks like it is pretty close to it. And then there's a fatter one. And it's just a 1-inch ID. I think the OD is correct. Let's go bring those over. I think this one might be our winner. Let's go find out. Let's see. It's good that way. Oh, is it like a hair under? Is it like metric? Because that's got to be like a 1-inch. Right? Oh, this one. Yeah. I bet you it's metric on the ID. Thought I had it at 1-inch though. Maybe these are metric. It's 20 thousandths too tight. I don't know what that would be on the metric one. And it's not like you can go look up on the side of it and say, you know, it doesn't say the size. If you look up the part number, you'll be able to find out what it is, but it ain't what we need. Yeah, the only thing I found was an old, like, trailer. Look at the edge of that, the color of it. Wheel bearing set. And it's got the right ID and OD, but it's a tapered bearing, not what we need. So, yeah. I may go shopping for one and move on with that. Kind of undecided what I'm doing, actually. All right, so what would you do if you were in my position? You put it all together and see what it does. So I put the engine back in its location, you know, half-assed. Got the belt on it, and the track is up in the air. I say we fire it up, and we just kind of give ourselves like a function check of what doesn't work or spin or, you know, that kind of thing. Without further ado, let's make some noise. Gonna make them both a little little richer. Sure spit out a mess. So the belt's doing for heat. Okay, but again, that's what's supposed to do. That the belt, you can see how much play it's got in it. It really almost doesn't touch it. But that bearing's supposed to freewheel so that it's not digging into the belt when you're sitting still. But the clutch seems like it's working, kind of, sort of. You know, plus everything's wore out. I'm sure that belt's not even the right size. But it did do something. Who knows what it's going to do under a load, but at least it did spin the track, and the track didn't fall out from underneath it. Definitely got to run a grease gun to all those bogies. All right, I got to go purge the air out of here. Although it smells good. Well, guys, I think it's going to be a good jumping off point. We've got some stuff to go chase, and got more work to do. It's not like we're ready to go trail ride the thing yet. But it's pretty cool that we got to do a function check all the way down to spinning the track. We got the fuel system to still deal with that tank. Not quite sure. I was thinking even we could like flip it up on its end and get it out of there, but that outlet isn't at the base of the tank. It's kind of like in dead center of it. Kind of a poor design, if you ask me. I want to see if we can get a bearing for that. I want to see if we can get a spring for the clutch. Although the clutch, you know, who knows under a load what functionality it's doing, but at least it's to the point where it does, you know, stall out and there's not smoke coming off the belt. The ignition switch works. We don't know if the wiring still works, if we have a charging system or not for the headlight and the taillight. Got to make a seat up for it. And like I was saying on the previous video, I have another machine that's awesome. I can't wait to start screwing around with it. About the same era, and that's the correct engine that should be on it. Again, it's for another video, but I at least would like to borrow this engine and put it on the other machine. I may jump ahead to that one or not. The problem is I'm chasing with weather. Right now we have 2 inches of snow. I don't see any snow in the forecast for 10 days out. I still don't see anything happening. So for us to be able to try to ride this, we don't have the capacity to yet. Well, we'll see. Again, you know, we're playing with winter to see how things line up to projects like this. Anyway, I'm glad. At least we got to realize that we have a decent engine. It does not seem like it has a bad crank seal yet. Sometimes you run them and it will fail because they're hard. It's like a spider just decided to run out of it and got pissed him off. No place to go. Anyway, a couple other things too. I'll just add on. Karmann Ghia. Let me back up. So I decided to take like 2 days a week, work on projects, not film them. So it keeps the I don't know how you want to explain it. When you work on something, you get like an adrenaline rush. Like, what's the next thing to go do? What's the next thing to go do? When you film, it kind of breaks that up a little bit and makes it so that you know, you have to stop and get the camera and go do this instead of just that adrenaline rush you get when you're working on something. And so I've decided 2 days a week to work on projects. I may go film on them, but certain things I'm not. Like, that's going to get the headliner come in. The glue just came in for that. So I'm doing the headliner in that. Then the glass can go in the Karmann Ghia. I'll bring it back when we're doing like engine work or something on it. Brakes we got to go through, that kind of thing. Yeah, you think I totally forgot about it, didn't you? Anyway, I've been back on that. I spent 2 days, day and a half on it last week. And on the other side, I say we're about 2 years now. We haven't touched it. It's been sitting back here as a backdrop. A couple things was going on with it. One, my health was having an issue with welding. I was getting migraines. After I welded for a day, I had a migraine for about 2 days afterwards. It's something I've been dealing with my whole life. I don't need help trying to figure out what to take or do. So I changed my diet, changed a whole bunch of stuff, got rid of all medications that I was on over the last 11 months, and it seems like it's getting better, under control. So I started picking up welding again on this. I'll show you. So the other side, where we kind of left off with it, I was making panels. I made panels all the way around for it. And the last one was making was this side. I don't have a light over here. And that is all welded up over there. The bottom going across, I had to make that front section, the back section, and then the middle piece going across, and up in the back of it, there's new panels going through there. This is a previous repair. I made that panel. I think the only thing we are left to go do metal wise is right here. Although this looks good, this is beat. This is all rotted out. You can put your hand like behind it. As you can see, you can hear taking like, you know, chunks of rust out of it. There's nothing behind there for the drop, and this is really punky. You could, you know, if you push on that, you're just going to push right through it. So I may or may not film trying to make that section up. I don't know. Kind of undecided. Another thing that was stopping me on this was the clearance of the rear wheels. Should get the engine out of the way, but you'll get the idea. So the clearance of the rear wheels was a problem. I got these really cool nags for it, and the front was okay. The back hit the wheel well up in here. So I modified the suspension so it could only travel so far. I made bump stops. I rolled the quarters up so you have a little bit of clearance, but it was still going to hit by a decent amount where it was going to go cut into the tire. When I was picking up, actually the same place the Snowmobile came from, he had a set of wheels there. These are the rims that were there, and they are about a 1 inch shallower, and I'll show you what was on it. Those were on it. They looked awesome. You know, they stuck up past the wheel well, but it was going to be a problem if I went to go put something in the back of the truck. They were going to get cut up. So I was kind of waiting on that, what I was going to do for metal work to try to modify it. I was thinking I was going to have to bring the wheel wells out, and that doesn't seem to be an issue anymore. And I was at the last swap meet of the year, and those tires were there. So I put those tires on those rims. They are not the same. They're, you know, raised white letter. They don't match the ones on the front. The fronts are Be Goodrich, but if I didn't tell you, you wouldn't know. So so that's what's happening with that. That's us moving forward too, along with some other things. Like I said, 2 days a week, I'm planning on just wrenching on stuff to get the projects further along, and then I'll bring you back to different things. This has a gas tank that has to get modified because they don't make one for this. So I have a Mustang gas tank. We have to cut up and weld and modify to change to put in it. I ordered a radiator. I ordered one before. It was the incorrect one. I ordered another one. Should be in a few days. And just so you know, I was looking around trying to find out like what kind of quick color this is. This is Alles Chalmers orange. Ask me how I know. I sprayed it on the truck. Can you tell where it is? You're looking at it right now. That lower section right there. So I may go like Bondo it up and just kind of spray that in. At some point, all the chrome's got to come off it. We got to take time and massage the body better with body work. And a friend is in the process of possibly setting up a paint booth. And at that time, maybe we'll give it a better coat. Again, rambling. Sorry, just want to give you a heads up on where we are on a bunch of stuff. And you may or may not see those on film. And I'm not sure where we're leaving off on this. So we're definitively nowhere. All right, guys, with that, I'm going to sign off. Thank you all for hanging out, doing some wrenching, and I'll see you later.